Hello, here we are on day 4 of the Diet Culture Funhouse Challenge. I hope that you've found some new perspectives and attitudes already starting to form, seeing things in a little different way, maybe things that are familiar, but looking at them from a different perspective. So we have covered already, well, hold on a minute here. Let me go over a couple of things with you. That I've been offering a free call. That continues to be good. I just wanted to remind you, yesterday I mentioned that I am offering, for those of you who sign up through this challenge, a 2-for-1 deal where you and a friend can sign up for any coaching package I offer for the price of one of you. That offer, I said yesterday, would be good at a certain time, but I was thinking about it, and if I push that out a little bit, we hit October, and October is my birthday month, and I wanted to do something nice in my birthday month for you. And so I'm going to extend that deadline for signing up to get that half off offer until October 4th. So if you book your call and sign up for any of my coaching packages by October 4th, or to the end of day October 4th, then that's when that offer is good for. So just get that taken care of. And so far, we have looked at, let me share the screen here. We have looked at the distorted mirrors of weight and appearance, weight and weight loss. I can't talk really. Food and eating. And today we're talking about health and fitness. So with the other days that we've already covered, we hope that you've taken the time to see how God sees you, to look at yourself through his eyes. You're his daughter. He loves you. Doesn't matter what you look like. That doesn't account for any of your worth. Your worth is innate. Your value is innate. You are his, and he loves you. I hope that you've chosen one healthy habit to do a little work on this in upcoming weeks, and pictured what your ideal relationship with food would look like, because I'm telling you, it's likely very, very possible. Very possible. We can work together to find that. If you're interested, book that free call at calendly.com/TL-Astle. So today, health and fitness. Now, how is this part of diet culture? Because it's pretty much a no-brainer that is good for you. It's good for us to be concerned with our health and our fitness, right? So how can diet culture have tainted that? Well, let's look at that a little bit more closely. Let's look at what the reality, or excuse me, the cultural norms are, not the reality, what culture, what our society wants to think is normal and actually accurate, but is not. So in this area of health and fitness, come on, there we go. Again, like there's this conflation of weight and health, there's this conflation of thinness and health, that so many people think that we have to be thin in order to be healthy, that a larger body is automatically a sign of a less healthy body. And that's just not true. It's, again, weight can have some bearing on our health, but it's not as intense as we've been led to believe. So it's about those healthy habits again. And we can have all the good labs, we can have all the good health and still be high on the BMI. And again, that body mass index is not a great indicator. So, but there's this idea that if you're thin, you're automatically healthy. And I remember talking to a woman years ago, a friend of mine, who was just a nice slim size. And she said, "Oh, I hate it when people ask me about this, because like I do nothing. I do nothing to have this size. It's just genetics." She said, "I eat terribly. I don't take good care of myself. It's just how I look." And she was laughing about it. And that's, for her, yay for her. But she very much recognized that just because she was slender didn't mean that she was healthy, and she recognized that she wasn't taking great care of herself. And on the opposite end of the conflation of thinness with health means that people automatically assume if a person is quote unquote overweight, that they're unhealthy. Now, that again is also not always true. there's this idea, and I'm sure you have heard, eat less, exercise more. That's what we need to do. That's the magic formula that works for getting to the weight that we should be. If it was that simple, wouldn't we all be the weight that we want to, that we think we should be? That magic number that we want to be, if we could just eat less and exercise more and get to that number. But again, our bodies are more complicated than that. And it's not that simple for you. And that's far too simplistic for the miracle that is our body and the complex thing that our body is. And that for way too many of us, I know I fell into this category for many years, that actually the purpose of exercise was to lose weight or to reshape my body. That's why you exercise. And maybe there's some of you listening who's like, well, yeah, isn't that what exercise is for? No, that's not what it's for. The result of these cultural norms is that it can lead to compulsive workouts. This feeling that you have to get a workout in, that we get this unhealthy reasoning or attachment to exercising, where we feel like if we missed a workout, we have to do double another time, or we're just get all in our head about feeling guilty and bad about not hitting that workout, or maybe not doing it as hard as we should, working as hard as we should. That it can lead to, even when we're sick, we feel bad about not getting those workouts in. We don't allow ourselves to have any space as far as this regiment that we think we need to follow when it comes to how we exercise. We think that if a workout isn't changing the shape of our body, that it's not working. That again is just not true. There's so many things that movement can do. And I tend to use the word movement much more than exercise, because exercise can easily drum up this idea that you have to go to the gym, you have to have these, or go running outside, or have these very certain narrow parameters of what exercise looks like. And it doesn't have to be that to be good for us, to be healthy for our bodies. Just natural movement. We'll talk in a few minutes about the blue zones. Hopefully you're familiar with those. If not, you will be in a minute. But we get this idea of what workout should look like. And it's that the job of a workout is to lower our weight or to change the shape of our body. And again, that's not the purpose. Those can be side results, but it's not the purpose. And this idea of no pain, no gain. I have one of my dear daughters-in-law is a personal trainer, and she's like, but I love that phrase. I'm like, well, she actually, I think, handles that phrase with a mentally healthy state, because she's one of the most mentally stable people I know. But she is not alone in thinking that that's what exercise, no pain, no gain. You got to work, you got to fight, you got to do the hard thing. And sometimes it's hard, yes, but we don't have to put, for too many of us, that puts us in an adversarial relationship with our body. We're trying to, in essence, beat our body into submission and make it do more than it wants to do, more than it's capable of. And we push ourselves way too hard with that kind of an attitude. It also can lead to this very, again, narrow idea of what workouts should look like and what we should be doing. And if we can't do that, then we develop this all or nothing thinking, and we end up with no workouts at all. If we can't do what we think we should, then we just are not going to do it at all. We just give up. We get frustrated and, okay, forget it. I just can't do it. And again, that leads to, surprise, surprise, guilt and shame. When this is just, and I laugh about it and I joke about it, but it really is so serious that this guilt and this shame is woven all through all of these diet culture expectations. And it really holds us back in so many ways and keeps us from living the life that we're intended to live, to have the joy that God wants us to have in this life. And so that's what we're aiming for, is that joy, that peace, that relationship with Him that's healthy and strong and loving and supportive, and not with us holding back and blaming ourselves and living in this guilt and shame for unnecessary things. So this undue stress over missed workouts, again, feeling so bad about what we haven't been doing or that what we can't do. If we're sick and we miss a workout for a little while, then we're just feel so bad about that. I haven't been able to go to the gym for 3 days, or we end up pushing ourselves and going and doing the exercise and doing the workouts that we have planned when we really shouldn't. What our body needs is rest, but we're going to push through. That goes back to the no pain, no gain. And then we feel bad if we don't, whatever we think is exercise regularly, whatever picture we make in our mind of what that looks like, and we don't do it, then we feel guilty or we feel shameful about that. It develops this very narrow view, belief in what exercise looks like. It looks like running. It looks like going to the gym. It looks like swimming laps. It looks like hiking the 8-mile trail or more. It looks like all these different things. When we and then we also develop ideas about what counts for exercise and what doesn't count for exercise. And all of this is very narrow, just really narrow. It's not the way that we're intended to be looking at things. So let's look at, those are the results. What's the reality? So now let's go into Isaiah in the Old Testament. In chapter 40, verse 31, he says, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength." Let me pop over here. "They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and shall walk and not faint." So let's look at we want to mount up with wings as eagles. We want to run and not be weary. We want to walk and not faint. We want to be able to do that with our bodies. So what's the qualifier here? It doesn't say, but they that go to the gym 5 to 6 days a week for 1-hour sessions, preferably with a personal trainer, shall renew their strength. That's not what it says. It doesn't say those that exercise at minimum of 3 times a week shall renew their strength. That's not what it says. What's the qualifier there? Those that wait upon the Lord. And what does it mean to wait upon the Lord? It means to look forward anxiously, to seek that relationship with him. When we seek that relationship with him, he will help us to know what are the most effective ways for us. He will help us to exercise, to move our bodies. He will help us to have that balance that we need to have, not the punishment, not the trying to be in this adversarial relationship with our body and trying to make it submit to what we want, but to know how to appreciate it, know how to honor our bodies and respect our bodies with movement, not just check off the ever increasing intensity of exercise regimens. So let's go back over here. And the reality is that that's the kind of relationship that God wants us to have with our bodies and with movement. We were created to move. Our bodies were not intended to be still things. Not that we have to be moving 24/7, obviously, but we have, just by the nature of how where we are in the period of time with all the, everything we can do on computers and all that kind of thing, we're much more sedentary than our bodies were created to be, many of us. And so it's something that we have to think about, that we didn't, back in Little House on the Prairie days, they didn't have to think about being active because just the course of their natural life, the things that they had to do to function and to survive, built in movement. And so they didn't have to think about that. We don't live in those days anymore. There are many of us who are active, plenty active in the jobs that we have, but there are many of us who aren't. And so we're built for movement. We need to be conscious of that. So this blue zones, I talked about the blue zones just a minute ago. If you're not familiar, there are areas in the world that have like far and away more people who live to be over 100 regularly for, this has been going on for a while. So there have been studies done to figure out what are their commonalities, because they're in Costa Rica and Sardinia and Japan and America. There's one in America. And so what are their commonalities? And they have found commonalities. And one of the things that they have found is that most of these places, they're not places that have any kind of, it's like, okay, well, they have tons of gyms and people go to gyms, or they have tons of people just exercise all the time. What they have found is that what these people do is that this movement is part of their built-in day. In Costa Rica, with the farming that they do, they don't use more modern tools and implements. They use ones that are more physically demanding. So it's just part of their day. It's part of how they live. In Sardinia, it's very hilly, and they walk everywhere. They do a ton of walking, and so this movement is just built into their days. And they're finding that that's an easier way to get it in, because you don't have to try to figure out what your workout regimen's going to be and try to fit it into your day. Just working that movement into your day, that natural kind of movement. And that can be hard if we have a job where we're at a computer, or, just various different life circumstances. And there are all kinds of different physical abilities. Our bodies can do different things physically. Some people in wheelchairs can play Olympic level basketball wheelchair basketball. But others who are wheelchair bound cannot do that. They don't have the physical capability of even starting to get to that level. So it's about honoring our body, what our body can do. And it's whatever level. We're not all trying to be professional athletes. That's not the goal. The goal is to honor our body, to move it, to have it be as well cared for in what we eat and how we move as we can, and in our attitude toward it. That makes a big difference too, obviously. So this blue zone movement of just kind of working as much movement as possible into our day. Stop trying to make things easier. And some things, a lot of take the harder way. What people got the way that takes longer. Maybe if you are in a place where you work or live close enough to where you work, instead of driving every day, start walking. If not every day, once or twice a week. Find a way to, instead of staying in at lunch, walk to wherever you're going for lunch, or drive to where you're going, take a little walk while you eat or after you eat, or just find ways to naturally work movement into our days. If you have young children, play with them more. That's a fun way to do that. So all these different ways that we can do this and work this movement naturally into our day. It's more fun for a lot of us to do that anyway, and it's really an effective way to do that. And looking at movement or exercise as a way to maintain or develop the function of our body, not how much we weigh, not what the shape our body is, but how does our body function? How do we feel in our body? Are we doing what we can to be able to keep our balance, to keep our flexibility, to keep our strength as we get older? And looking at these other benefits, there's so many other benefits to exercise other than lowering a number or manipulating the number on the scale or manipulating the shape of our body. Those are just such minor things, with minor, even if maybe they're advantages, maybe they're not even advantages, but such minor things compared to the reality of being able to feel comfortable and to have the activity level, to be able to lift up our grandchildren and play with them, to be able to walk up and down stairs, to be able to go on those vacations and take the walks with the friends, all those things, to be able to do those things and have those things be what we can naturally do because of how we've cared for ourselves, rather than hit the gym so that I can do, have these, well, I used to be able to do this many reps and now I can do this many. Okay, yay. But what does that mean in your just function of your body in your day-to-day life? If the number of reps you can do is your goal, okay. But having the goal be to have your body function just in your day-to-day life the way that you want it to function, the way that makes you happy and that suits your lifestyle. That's the goal. So what are the possibilities here? We can take exercise, and I appreciate that these things are easier to talk about than to do. For myself, I didn't realize how much my attitudes toward exercise were not healthy attitudes towards exercise, and that I was exercising for what I will say are, the wrong reasons. I was exercising, I was staying active so that I would either lose weight or so that I wouldn't gain weight, so that I could change the shape of my body. And any mental health benefits, were just a side thing. It's like, oh, that's a plus, but this is why I'm doing it. And so I had to back away for a while. And then I would try to, every now and then it's like, okay, I'm going to try having a gym membership again. I'm going to try setting a daily exercise routine, or, 5, 6 days a week. And I would try it and I'd find myself falling back into that same old pattern of looking at, okay, well, I've exercised every day this week, or, 5 times this week. So what does the scale say? It's like, oh, nope, that's not the attitude. That's not where I need to be. So it took me quite some time to get to a point where now I can be active. I can do the Pilates that I like to do. I can go walk in the orchard like I like to do. I can get a hop on the rowing machine like I like to do. I can do these things and have them be for how I feel while I'm doing it, what I know, the benefits I know I'm getting from it, as far as building up my stamina, building up my strength, being able to do the things in my body I want to do. So I know it's easier said than done, but I do know it's possible as well. We can learn to honor our body with movement instead of fight against it. We can work with our body, not against it. Just said that one. We can move for enjoyment. You remember when you were a little kid and you used to just run around and play without any consideration for how you looked or how whatever was going on. It was just, it's what you did. It was what was fun. And as we get older, I know myself, and I know I'm not alone, have got to the point where movement, exercise was part of the plan, part of the work of being a grown up, and part of it, instead of just, I'm just going to have fun. So we can learn to move for enjoyment again, like we did when we were a kid. And as we do that, we can enjoy improved functionality and appreciation for our body. When we're moving for the right reasons, for the healthy reasons, then it builds our body appreciation, and it not our body judgment, which is so frequent when we are exercising to lose weight or to reshape our body. We can hold our body in such a place of judgment of, no, I need to be able to do this. My waist is not getting smaller. My thighs are not getting smaller. My biceps are not getting stronger. That's the problem. That's the goal. That's right. And we can hold our body in such judgment. And that's not the goal. We can appreciate the connection that we can develop when we're being with other people. As it's, there's a very, not all the time, but it's a very nice aspect to have when we can connect. Just the other morning, I went for a walk in the orchard with a friend of mine, and that social connection along with the moving, that's when we can do that. Sports, the pickleball is a gigantic thing that's happening right now and keeps growing and growing. You can't really play pickleball by yourself. So there's a social aspect to it. And building that connection with other people is one of the real advantages too. And so watching for these kinds of advantages, these kinds of results are the things that really make that worth it. There are mental health and emotional health benefits as we exercise. There's a lot of science behind that, but the endorphins that we get when we're moving and all that, there are so many things. The science on this is heavy and thick about the advantages of moving and the mental health advantages of moving. And we can feel confident and we can feel grounded. So these are all amazing possibilities. So what's your challenge? What's our challenge for this area? Ask yourself, what is my attitude toward exercise or movement? Why do I exercise? Or why do I not exercise? And there's no right answer, wrong answer. Don't want you judging yourself here. This is just, put on your scientist lab coat here. All you're doing is gathering data and just check in with yourself. What is your attitude toward exercise? Do you do it because you love the mental health benefits, because you love how it helps your body function? Or do you do it because you're punishing yourself? Or do you not exercise because you just hate it? You can't do it. There's some way that you can move that you won't hate. What type of movement brings you joy? Like we just talked about. If you can't think of any kind of movement that brings you joy, think about when you were a kid. And maybe try something either that you did when you were a kid. If you used to love to jump rope, try to jump rope. If that sounds like, no, not doing jump roping, then something like that, something that will give you that kind of joy, that was fun. And then you do it because it's fun, not because it's a have to. And maybe it would be helpful to start thinking about, instead of exercise, thinking about movement, moving my body instead of having to exercise, having to get in a workout. So maybe just changing that frame of reference, that change of mind, that frame of mind, that could be helpful. So ask yourself those questions and then choose one activity this week to do just for fun, something that's just going to bring you joy. So to recap, we've shattered the distorted mirrors of appearance, weight and weight loss, food and eating, health and fitness, and finding our way out of the diet culture funhouse. So what's next? It's time to get out of the funhouse. You can change vital aspects of your mindset and develop habits that will allow you to march out that exit door and have the freedom with food and the appreciation for your body that you've always wanted. Imagine what that can feel like, to be comfortable in your body, regardless of the size, to eat without guilt and shame, to learn to have foods that really nourish you, body and soul, to have an appreciation for your body that allows you to be comfortable and to not look in that mirror and think of all the things that you wish you could change and notice all things. Oh my gosh, I'm just looking so much older. I've always had these freckles that I hate. My nose is crooked. My nose is too big. My nose is too small. Your nose isn't too anything. That we can look in the mirror and just appreciate what our body is, what it does for us. And we can show it the respect and the honor that it deserves, that we can appreciate the miracle that it is. And when we can do that, it will help us to move it in ways that honor and respect it and not punish it. It can help us to naturally develop the desire to feed it foods that are going to do it the most good, and know how to balance the foods that may be very fun and very enriching in other ways than having high nutrient content, and know how to balance those in, know how to add those in, know the place that they have in our function, in our diet, and to have that relationship of just peace and contentment with food and our body. So remember to book that free call at calendly.com, calendly.com/TLASTLE. And that is a free call. And then for signing up through if at that call, we decide that there's a way that I can be a help to you and that working together would be a helpful thing, then you can have 50% off because it's 2 for 1, not just 50% off for an individual, but 50% off because it's 2 for 1. You and a friend, somebody that you care about, can sign up for, you have to sign up for the same coaching package, but any coaching package that I offer, you can have for 2 for the price of 1 until Friday, October 4th. So let me just wrap this up by saying thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us in this Diet Culture Funhouse Challenge. I hope that you've had some new perspectives, that you're seeing things in a new way, that you're realizing the culture that we live in is what has caused so much of the grief, so much of the pain, so much of the stress around our food and around our attitudes toward our bodies, and that you can step outside that funhouse, that you can have the relationship that you deserve, that you want with food and with your body. And I am telling you that as you do this, that it will deepen your relationship with God. You will see yourself more clearly than you do now. You will see yourself more as He sees you. You will feel His love more deeply, and you'll deepen your relationship with Him through this avenue. Thanks for being with us. If you want to find me on Instagram, I'm at tlastel.nourishing-body-and-soul. I have a YouTube channel, which is the Nourishing Body and Soul channel. You can find, I have lots of podcast episodes and other little short videos there. If you are not already on my email list, when you can either book a call through Calendly and we can get you on that way, or if you go to my Linktree link on my social media, I'm on Facebook as well. And if you go to my link tree, then you can find my find different ways that you can get my get on my email list. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, all the best to you. You deserve to have a life that's truly nourishing for you, body and soul.